We are live. It is 1:06 p.m. Central Standard Time in the United States. It is 7:06 p.m. in BST in the UK. Fuck me. Didn't start off great. Typical. Anyways, the Nomad Tech Project with Sam and Joe coming to you live here on September 18th, 2022. And, that 22 seconds was terrible. So anyway, what isn't terrible is the guest we have on. We have Andrew back. Late but not captain. Great. Or great but not late, or whatever. Something like that. So he's back. He was on a couple months ago, and we were supposed to have him on as a follow-up, and then life happened, and his internet was weird, and then here we are. So we're here today.
I live close enough to the edge of the earth where the home internet went out, but then also the AT&T network for the whole area went out that day. So it's just
he just basically digitally ghosted us. It's cool.
It's the Amish were giving their vengeance on us using all of our technology. So
right.
How long did that last? I hate having no internet.
That lasted. So the internet was a hardware issue specifically for the home.
Okay.
But the internet issues for like the cell towers, like it was out for probably 8 to 10 hours.
Oh man,
it was bad. Though, well, okay. So it was AT&T, but I was on Cricket Wireless, so we're way low on the priority for those towers because they use AT&T's towers, and so I basically didn't have any signal at all. While the neighbors who did have some AT&T were occasionally getting some text messages through, but no, it was crazy.
Well, so probably like 3G was working, maybe.
You think? Yeah, I should have got. Yeah, well, so the problem is I couldn't test it very well because, like, if I wanted to put my SIM card, which we can talk about here in a minute with the eSIMs, SIM cards in my Sony Xperia, Cricket, since it doesn't have VoLTE and it was sunsetted basically. If I put the SIM card in there and it activates, they suspend my account until I call them and fix it, which is crazy too.
Yeah. I've had that problem too. So, but now he's back, and so we're here. And if you've noticed, I'm wearing the headphones because the port on my Yeti broke last night. Actually, I was getting on the GG stream, and I broke it. I just tried to insert it real quick, and I guess I didn't pay attention, and so it's toast. So I didn't have a chance to go get it today, so it's Surface headphones, and that's where it is. So if I sound like shit, well, that's normal, but
I think you sound good.
My auto. Well, these are I take these for work, and I'm in meetings, and people say I sound okay. So, I mean, it's the way it's going to be for this week. Now I will replace it with a microphone, hopefully, this week. But
I'm gonna start calling you Mr. Microsoft.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, so what? It's fine. You can. It could be worse things to be called, right? Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I could call you worse things for sure.
So, well, Andrew, since we had you on last, how have things been going? And what do you have to table to talk about today? We got tons of stuff.
Oh
right?
It's been going good. Just a lot of stuff going on, though. I will say, I ended up doing some like camping, which was interesting because one thing that I haven't been camping in like 10 years, and I'm an old scout, Eagle Scout and all that. And essentially, something I've noticed is like there's no reason to have like fuel anything unless it's like for cooking specifically. I'm like, just get the solar panels and just get battery banks and you're good. Cause we ended up getting a campsite that didn't have power. And so, which is ironic because the campsite actually had Wi-Fi, which is the weirdest thing on the planet to me. But yeah, I don't know. It was fun. It was fun going through.
Like glamping. Yeah. Did it have electricity as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting. Yeah. Like the other campsites had electricity, and I realized after I booked hours that it didn't. And so we just stocked up on battery banks. And,
yeah.
So, but it was fun.
That's proper camping though.
Oh yeah.
That's proper camping.
So yeah, that was fun. And one of the things too that I was testing out actually, I ended up testing out an Amazfit like smartwatch. But it's interesting because it's actually a little Casio almost.
I was gonna say it looks like a Casio.
Yeah. So hold on here. Let me see. Oh, let's see if I can get the light turned on. Oh, well, green screen's not going to play well with it. But essentially, it's like a Casio, but it'll track your heart rate and steps and everything too. And it was actually pretty nice to have something where I can track all that data, but then basically be unplugged, which is fun.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
I like their products. So.
Yeah,
I love Casio as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wanted to get if they made one that had the little calculator.
Yeah,
that would be even sweeter.
Hey, it's still made.
I know.
they still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I was the king of the world, man. When I was in school, I had like this little calculator function. Oh, dude, it was great. It was awesome. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And I got a little calculator right here on my wrist, right?
So it's interesting. So there's a Casio that it's like the black one that you think of. It's the F91W, I think is what it is. But it's like the real famous one, like presidents have worn it in the 80s. But essentially, they don't recommend that you fly with it because they are used to make bombs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they're cheap and it's like apparently really easy. So they don't recommend that you fly with those, even though they're like the most basic digital watch ever. So yeah, just the more you know.
Right.
Wow.
So good, yeah. So and then it's funny you haven't been camping in 10 years, but we go every year our yearly camping trip, and in case anybody in the chat, which I don't know how you would not know this if you've been paying attention for years and stuff, but Andrew and I live in the same state. We both live in Missouri. Now I live a little closer to St. Louis. He lives a little closer to, I guess, Columbia, out in that area.
Springfield, right now.
Southwest. So we're kind of almost on the opposite sides. And Missouri isn't exactly a small state. It's not Texas big, but it's not exactly West Virginia either. It's small. Mm-hmm. So we both live in the same state. So we usually go to the same kinds of campsites. So like he went to the one he went to. I've been there before. I've been to a bunch in Missouri State parks. So they're pretty cool. So so it's good. I'm glad you got on camp. I noticed that we've slowly over the last. We've been doing it for like 22 years, like every year, how we've kind of transitioned off of like having a kerosene lantern, right, to an LED lantern. And then the only thing we really have that really we like cook with other than the campfire is our Blackstones. We bought a couple of Blackstones. So that's in the morning.
Nice.
Oh, dude, I have a 17-inch one. It's got a little deployable stand. My buddy bought a 22-inch one for this year, so he's going to bring it. So yeah, that's great for griddling and pancakes and sausages. And then of course the regular campfire for all the other stuff we make. So
how cold does it get at night where you guys are?
Well, it kind of depends. I know the first year we did it, it was like single digits, like 4.
Yeah,
overnight.
That's what I struggle with. I struggle with that.
And the first 10 years was on my buddy. Now my buddy bought a camper. We were in tents, but he wouldn't sleep in the tent. He would sleep in his car. So I was on the tent, in a tent on the ground, and it was. I mean, the first year it was cold. It was really cold. Luckily, it seems like only 1 year in 22 years have we had bad weather, like that when it rained. But really, it's some of the days, most of the time we go, it's like mid-40s throughout the day. It isn't too bad. If we went in January, it'd be colder. But yeah, there have been nights where, you will have to sit near the fire and you will have to stand up and turn around a little bit because your backside gets a little cold. So you
have to have a nightcap.
Well, more than that. We have a couple nights, so it's all
That's
good.
Part of camping, right?
I like it because 1, there's not many people there. 2, you don't sweat a lot, so you don't have to worry about getting all sweaty and disgusting. And 3, bugs. There are no bugs or anything at night, so it's nice and and so you get the best of both worlds. It's really and nothing beats a really cold December night when you're outside, you see stars and it's cold because that's when you want to sit next to the fire. You don't want to sit next to the fire when it's July and it's 97 degrees, and then overnight it's like high 80s. You don't want to sit next to a campfire.
No, don't worry. What about August when it's like 98 degrees in your tent and when you're trying?
I can't. Nope. Can't. I don't camp in the summertime. I refuse to because you get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and you're already doused in sweat. It's just miserable. I hate it.
So key thing for that makes Missouri really, really nice for camping and in these sorts of like their state parks. Their website there is really well designed. So basically, you can go out and you'll go up and you can sign up for individual campsites and it's very detailed. And then they'll show you a crappy little picture of the site.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's just a guy who's like, probably on an iPhone 4 or something. But still though, it's better. Like it's better than nothing, and it's actually pretty nice. And our parks too. Actually, a lot of them have showers, which is really nice. Our park system is one of the things that I love the most about Missouri.
Yeah, they do a good job, and also that's another reason why we go in December because everything is closed. Like so, you guess you lose the amenities, right? The shower houses are closed, which is kind of a bummer deal. But what's good is you don't have to do any booking, so that you just show up, right? You just go. I mean, they're like, holy cow, somebody's actually here, and you can get now. He has a camper, so we get a power site, and I'm not gonna lie, we all have CPAP, so I sleep in the camper with him. But I last year brought the tent, and I said I'm still pitching tent. I'm gonna sleep outside a couple nights and just run up an extension cord tonight, I think. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. We've been doing it like literally every year for the last 22 years. So
what I was going to ask though is, what tech do you guys bring with you?
What
essential tech?
All I brought was my Duo and my and actually last year I think at that time I had the Mi 11 for pictures. Pretty sure, yeah, because that's why I took to Puerto Rico and we came back and but I look the year before that I had the Mate 30 and took pictures of that. So really, that I don't bring. I bring my Switch, but I never play it. It just sits. I don't know why I play every
just
time.
in case.
Just in case. Now he has a TV in there, so we'll but he's got a TV on the outside of the camper, so we'll sit in like the deck chairs next to the fire, and he'll rent a movie or something like that. So we'll just sit there and watch a movie. But we don't bring our laptops. We don't bring a lot of games. And then a lot of times we go and Andrew can test this. A lot of the parks in Missouri don't have Wi-Fi access. Or if it is, it's super, super junky.
Yeah.
You can't really stream anything.
Yeah.
So you can get text messages and maybe browse some stuff, but really you couldn't possibly stream.
Right. Well, and
so that's kind of nice.
One thing that we tried to do was actually, and I couldn't accomplish this because we both didn't have Galaxy Buds, but apparently there's a feature on using the Galaxy Buds where you can actually like listen on to the same like playlist to get like the same song together at the same time.
Okay.
When you're hiking together, which is something that would be kind of fun. Like I just wish it wasn't like a Galaxy Bud like exclusive feature. Because like I'll usually go out and I have like if I'm hiking, I'll have like the bone conduction headphones and I'll just be out, enjoying it. But for the most part, in terms of tech, battery banks, lots of battery banks. And like lights, like there's no kerosene or whatever lights or anything like that to be used. So and so that's what we do too. But it's funny how over the 22 years how we used to bring a lot of food and it was all kerosene and we had Coleman lanterns and as the years have gone on we have kind of transitioned to a lot more Spartan packing. But also I don't honestly, except for the Coleman grill, except for the Blackstone with propane, I don't think we have anything that really is accelerant or gas or fuel or propane. It's all electric or LEDs or whatever. It's funny because it's almost like you almost have to go out of your way to find a propane lantern, an old Coleman lantern, almost like a retro. I had one. We had a couple of 30-year-old ones that I couldn't get lit, and I was.
Oh yeah, I have an old propane stove, and it's just rusted. And yes, Aditi, you're correct. After 3 millennia, I'm not glad. Yep, I had LASIK done about 15 years ago, and so I had an eye exam a couple weeks ago, and now here we go. So
they suit you. They do suit you.
Okay. They look all right. They're fine. It's whatever.
You're distinguished.
I was trying to go for I was going for like the Kingsman look, and they had one pair that was really close, and they had these little dots right here on the front. I can't do it.
Sharpie. You just Sharpie.
Right. Color them in. That'll look tacky. Yeah, exactly. So yes, I do have glasses now, and this is going to be my thing. And I see Scoops in the chat, and Jimmy, and Dan, and I saw Barry lurking earlier, so it's all good. And not going to lie, Buds 2 Pro isn't worth purchasing if you own a Buds 2. Yeah, I would agree. I have the Pixel Buds A, and they work perfectly fine. I really, really enjoy it for $99. I could get the Buds Pro, but the Buds A work for me. I really like them for what I paid for them and what they do. It's pretty sweet. I like them.
I want to try the Soundcore ones.
Yeah.
Liberty Pro 3s. That's the ones I want to try.
Right. Pretty much whatever El Jefe tells us to buy, sound-wise.
Yeah, whatever he sells me to buy, I'll buy.
Whatever El Jefe says, buy these. And Juan. So Juan and El Jefe, if they come to an idea about sound cores, either in-ear monitors or bone conduction or whatever, I'm just going to buy what they say.
I've never tried bone conduction.
I haven't either.
It's good.
I've seen so many more people. They're so much more common now out in the wild than they were 5 years ago. It's crazy. Well, the fact that they you can go into a Best Buy and there's a display where you can actually try them out is a huge thing.
I was going to say, is there any you'd recommend?
Aftershocks.
Aftershocks.
They're the best brand right now. They've been at it for about the longest, and they're also the least bulky. There's also a version that's like a boom mic.
Yeah, I'd like to have those for the hiking, like you mentioned. That would be
It's
you
so
can still,
nice.
Yeah,
you can hear
that's
just,
good for that.
You can still hear stuff on your headset,
Oh,
but
I
it
play the
doesn't.
Skyrim soundtrack when I'm hiking. It's great.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah, I mean that for that application, that would be a really good thing to have. I think that would be good. You get the nature
So
regular
good.
sound, but you also get a little bit of either
You're
spoken
bicycling?
word
Or if you're like
Yeah.
bicycling, you can hear traffic around you, but you can still
Yeah.
listen.
Oh, you
More
actually
suitable, yeah.
oh, you're a bicyclist that cares about traffic? That seems like most of the bicyclists are just like, I'm just
Hey,
gonna be in
yeah.
traffic and I don't
You're
give a
not a
shit
real
what's going on.
So
cyclist.
I've been
Right.
hit by a car while riding a bicycle. So
Oh,
like
God.
so I have a healthy
You learn from
respect
mistakes.
for traffic.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting, yeah.
Yep. Emeritus professor at an Ivy League. Well, I could have gone to Harvard. Actually, honestly, that I could have actually gone. Oh, it would have been online. I wasn't gonna like go to the campus. But the lady's like, I was out there on a trip, and she's like, you can go to online classes, like online at Harvard. I don't really care. I mean, I would want to be on campus, right? That would be kind of an experience that I don't want to miss.
Yeah.
Being a telecommuting online
If you think about it, a lot of universities, state universities, basically charged people the same rate for when they had them go home.
Right.
Had to which
of course it
sucks. But there's a lot of stuff behind that too, where it's like they might not have a choice. But I don't know. It's interesting where I feel like we're at a place in education now where telehealth can be kind of a big equalizer between those big institutions and smaller institutions, and just makes for better competition in the long run. Hopefully.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, and without getting into much of a rant about it, I think we're finally starting to understand that, maybe higher education or like secondary education isn't the only path available for young people. Because what's going to happen in 30 years when you have no bricklayers, no carpenters, no plumbers, no truck drivers? I mean, like, how many people do you know in their 20s and 25, 20-year-olds are doing that? And I'm like, eventually these people who are doing that work, pipe fitters and sheet metal workers and all, they're eventually going to retire. And there's not enough of them coming up through the ranks, that like my dad was a sheet metal worker, so I am. You've got to really, my buddy's a plumber. He makes a ton of money and doesn't even work that hard. He can say, I'm taking a month off. I'm going to go camping. I'm going to take a month off. And I said, are you going to have enough money? He goes, dude, I literally have more work than I have to turn jobs down. I literally.
It's a good trade, definitely.
I could make $10,000 a month and not even break a sweat. And not really work that hard because I can do commercial jobs, residential jobs, emergency service. Like you can go, and plus there's a thing. It's like it's a skill set that you can't ever. It will never be not usable. We're always going to move water through pipes of some kind.
Especially if you can do tiling. Can you do tiling and all that sort of stuff as well?
Oh yeah, if you can do like the general contracting work on top of it.
You can. You can do the lot.
It's crazy. So like electricians, carpenters, plumbers. Sheet metal. I mean, I think we need to really start to kind of, especially considering everybody's complaining about, loans and having to pay them back and loan forget. Let's start leveraging kids into trades again. I mean, it's almost like it's like beneath people. It's like if I can't go to a really famous school and spend 4 years, or if I can't be a YouTuber or a famous person, I can't just be, there's no shame at all in being a laborer. Zero.
No,
actually, if anything, I would say it has a lot of benefits because you can make a lot of money and you don't owe any money and you can, and you're always in demand. Like my buddy's like, I literally could stop being a plumber for 2 years and I can go back tomorrow and just pick it up where I left off. And it's like, he's really good. And so I don't know. I'm just hoping that both of those channels can exist. Higher education channel and a trade channel. And then those are both pushed adequately for younger people as a way to like, okay, if you don't want to take a $40,000 loan, you can learn to be a carpenter or a plumber or electrician or a mason or whatever. And we still need those jobs, man. So anyway, that's it.
I kind of wish I had done that.
Oh shit, I would have been a car mechanic in a heartbeat. I
wanted to be a carpenter. I actually applied for Wix in the UK. I was only a young lad. I had an interview. I thought it went quite well. It didn't even get back to me. The motherfuckers didn't even get back to me. That's disgusting, isn't it? Because they should at least get back to you and give you feedback.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty common here in the US too. Where
really, see, I was a young lad. Like that's so bad.
It's very common practice I've found here, like in the past, that where it's just you don't hear back. And
see, like where I work now, The recruiter's meant to contact the guys, any candidates I have, but I still personally call them and give them a little bit of feedback, whether they're successful or not, because I just think it's common courtesy to do so.
Yeah, we're running out of common courtesy nowadays.
Yeah,
that is becoming now an uncommon courtesy, right? And it shouldn't be, right? It really is. So that's my labor. You know, that's as far as that's about as political as I'm going to get on this show. But I'm just saying that I know a lot of people who are in those kind of trades, and we're going to need those. And it's
definitely
it's bad. I mean, it's like they can't. I mean, everywhere's hiring now. It's insanity. It's like if you don't,
you know,
if you don't have a job, you aren't looking.
So, you know, it's funny in the UK. You know, when Brexit happened. A lot of Eastern Europeans left the UK, and it made our situation worse because a lot of them did them jobs. Mm-hmm. So it made the situation even worse. It's like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's really going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in the next 10 to 15 years, or the next generation. Yeah. Like when those people in those career fields start to retire or quit or whatever, and I think it's going to be a problem for people because
might tell searchers to be a plumber.
Well, the funny thing is the pandemic, you would have thought that, nobody had money, things were tight. My buddy said, dude, as soon as COVID hit, we could not believe how much business we had. There were kitchen remodels, basement remodels, bathroom
Everyone was getting stuff done, weren't they?
Yeah, well, because you were in your fucking house all the time, and all the things that really annoyed you over the last 5 years, you were now dealing with every single day. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're like, if I don't get this kitchen out of here, I'm going to lose my mind. So, they said they went off the rails as far as busy. They got busier than hell.
Well, and shoot, my dad works on golf carts and all that. And COVID, he sold more golf carts than he's ever sold in 1 year period, just because it was one of those sports where it was relatively safe because it's easy to distance when you're playing golf. And so, yeah, it was interesting seeing that where demand was extremely high and supply was still really low.
Yeah. And it's funny. I love this comment for Nietzsche about being a blacksmith. And it's almost kind of tongue in cheek, but the funny thing is there are people who take like barnwood and they take like wrought iron and you make tables and furniture. Do yourself a favor if you have a chance, go to one of those shops that have like retro or barnwood or tables and chairs and look at the prices of what they're selling for. It'll blow your mind away. It's like they're literally taking free wood from a barn, putting it in a truck and doing all the cutting it and putting epoxy and putting the wrought iron shit that's scrap metal basically, and they probably spend maybe $50 in material and then the craftsmanship time. And they're selling it for like $1,000, $1,500. It's insane. I'm like, what the hell is happening? It's
I was watching a TV show about blowing glass.
Oh yeah, dude, it's crazy. Have you ever watched that? I saw it, and Andrew knows this. There's a place called Silver Dollar City. It's
yeah.
It's kind of like an amusement park, but it's kind of like a mine train 1800s kind of
Mark
like
Twain-y.
It's kind of a theme park, right? A little theme park, and the theme is 1800s, right? 19th century Americana, basically. And they had a guy that used to sit there and you'd watch him make these intricate and you're like, that's just cool, and how they can make it curl. It's really cool. I'm just saying, it's like there's a lot of money in trades and crafts, and I have a feeling that the younger generation now that's coming out, I think they're missing out a little bit of that, because there's a lot of, you can leverage a lot of money and skill. I mean, those are things that can last your whole life, So, I would have loved to do a car mechanic. I'd love to work on cars now a little bit I can, but I mean, to be a full-fledged actual mechanic, dude, that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't picture you doing it.
Really? Okay.
No, I'll see you as an office guy. Maybe it's the glasses.
Well, the funny thing is I didn't work in a full-time office until 2016, my entire career.
Didn't you?
I was a police officer. I worked in retail.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, you was, yeah.
Restaurant, manufacturing. That was my first 9-to-5 job I ever had, was until I was almost 40 years old. Actually, 41 when I started so that's kind of how funny it is. But, yeah, so I guess, yeah, it's a glass.
Do you like the office work or not? No. No,
and
that was a subtle no, but
and to be fair, I like my actual job. Like I love what I do for where I work. Like I really enjoy it. I love the learning. I love doing the support, and I love my job. But the office environment and the culture, I don't.
Yeah, I hear that.
It doesn't work for me. Again, I'm a lot more of a, as you can tell, a little bit more brash and upfront and direct, and a little bit kind of
people
rough
don't
on the
appreciate
edges.
it.
Well, and people, people don't understand it. It's not how most people are in an office environment, right? So when you get somebody like you who's disruptive and loud and kind of like in your face, it really throws people in a bad space, especially now because now we're sensitive to diversity of thought and inclusion, and people are different. They have different opinions, different thoughts, and the different work ethics. I mean, the 20-year-olds of now don't think the same way I did because their
they do not.
Their options are wide open. It's like I didn't even have a tenth of the options. I think that's what the problem is. I don't think it's because they're lazier or better. I think what it is when you have so many options, you can do pretty much whatever you want now in any kind of career field. It's wide open. Well, hell, you can't imagine these kids can't stay on one track because there's so many inputs. Like when I was a kid, it's like, you're going to do this, and this is like 3 or 4 options, and you got to do that, and that's it, right? So,
adding on to the fact now that work from home is a serious movement now.
It's not coming away.
And so then these people who are like have all that extra stuff to deal with are also in their same place at home, which is also where their leisure happens at the same time too, and that doesn't help it either.
Right, but, and I work from home except for one day a week, and I appreciate some of the practicality of it, but I still like being in an office, like going in and that whole routine and regimen. It's really sometimes hard to get kind of motivated when you're sitting in your house and you have to got to push yourself up to kind of get into a work mode. It's hard. I like it, but I don't. Also, but but if I could like right now, if I had the skill set to be a mechanic, I would quit my job and make the same money. I'd quit tomorrow. And now
you can do it, Sam. You can do it.
You can do it.
Yeah. I was going to do it like that, but I didn't.
So we're going to get back to tech. So Andrew was talking about something that I will tell you is not in my wheelhouse. I don't know very much about it at all. So I'm not even going to like lie and act like I'm I don't know. But what he made, it was an announcement, I think, for people who are in that space, would find it interesting if they don't know. So what was that?
So if anyone's looking to buy any graphics cards, EVGA is who is a big manufacturer, one of the biggest manufacturers of NVIDIA graphics cards. They're one of their NVIDIA's partners, part of their partner program. Pulled out of it and are just going to get out of the graphics cards business, just period. And the big reason why they cited was disrespect from NVIDIA. Basically, NVIDIA was a bunch of dicks to them, and
I believe that.
Right, they're dicks to everyone. Basically,
I was gonna say I don't think EVGA was catching all the heat. I think that's their business. That's how they operate.
Well, but like essentially the way NVIDIA were enforcing strict price ceilings. So and also another thing too was NVIDIA is the reason why like on graphics cards that you could get now, like you don't see versions with more RAM than like the base versions that NVIDIA would make. That's because NVIDIA has restricted it because they're trying to control the whole vertical. So essentially what's happening is they're trying to be Apple, control the whole vertical, but then also control the pricing at which competitors can charge. So essentially EVGA was losing money on every 3000 series graphics card that they sold. And they didn't get access to any schematics or anything up until like the announcements, like NVIDIA events. Crazy.
Well, I just can't find that to be a sustainable business model for a company like that.
I mean, they're pretty big. Like
it's going to backfire, isn't it?
They've got politicians pouring in stock into their company. But
they are massive, aren't they?
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Especially if they do that to everybody, it's just like holy cow.
I need to raise my game. All right.
Yep. Yeah, you got to get closer.
Yeah, got to get much closer. But yeah, it's interesting though. Like there's it's just one of those things where EVGA, they're a privately owned company, but like the CEO made this big emotional decision. Well, NVIDIA is 80% of their business, like graphics cards, NVIDIA graphics cards. So they're just getting out of the GPU business altogether, and they say they're not going to lay off anyone, but in the long run, there's going to be people leaving because there's going to be nothing to do because there's only so many ways you can build a power supply PCB, you know? So yeah, it's crazy. It's just nuts, and it makes me sad. Yeah.
Well, Kunal's got a point here. It's like Dell needs to kick their shitty product designers. The G339, I guess, is the graphics card, right? Has tons of issues, poor power throttling, thermal throttling, hinge issues, and much more. So yeah, apparently Dell's got some. I mean, it's
interesting.
it's it's manufacturing can be difficult. It can be challenging, especially when you don't have all the components in check and everything. But these companies really, I think a lot of people now you would think would start to really push back on some of these manufacturers, especially when across the board their products are substandard and they're paying premium amounts of money. You know what I mean? It's like if I'm just saying, like I think at some point there has to be some. I mean, I understand they're going to make what they do and they're going to do how they're going to make the products they make. But like this situation, it's like, what if you're spending? How much is how much is that graphics card? Like probably at least a couple $100, right? I would assume.
Oh well, like say if you're wanting to get like so. The reason why this is so hits me hard is because I bought EVGA cards and their support was really good, and they were one of the few manufacturers who is just like there's no real scandalous issues. They just make great products. Well, yeah, I mean, what was it? The 3080 Ti I was looking at was like $800 to $1,000. But the margins are really like narrow on GPUs apparently.
Okay, so that's a laptop. Okay, cool. Thanks for setting me straight because I'm like, because now it's just like 48, 5, DXC.
I was like, Dell?
I was like, yeah. Yeah, and they do. But like I said, the problem is, I mean, but I'm saying you said 3000 series graphics cards, and that says 3950. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I started this segment by giving you guys a heads up that I don't know shit about this stuff. It's not my jam.
Well, I don't know shit about it either.
Right. Well, so
it makes two of us.
I'm thankful Cornell's kind of keeping me on the level, right? But I preface this segment by saying that we're going to go into this like I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Like I'm out of the graphics card game. It's almost comical.
Well, it's less about graphics cards themselves, but more like the whole like position with these companies and how they're into, like is the more fascinating story because the CEO of EVGA is like, so you would think that if they broke their partnership with NVIDIA, they're going to go with AMD to do like Radeon graphics cards, or maybe have Intel who needs a major manufacturer to get on board for their graphics card stuff.
Apparently they just said, fuck it, we're done. We're just like done.
Yeah, they're like, no, we're not going to betray our partnership with NVIDIA, even though due to their narrative, NVIDIA betrayed them. So it's like, are they leaving?
Give it a year
open to go back in, maybe,
right?
And maybe
maybe they have to leave because of a contractual issue. They can't sever it until they go completely out of business, and then once that 12 months is over, then they can leverage back into it. I don't know. Maybe it's a legal thing.
Unless they're negotiating. Maybe they're negotiating at the moment.
That's what I'm thinking. Because right now it's like NVIDIA. The weird thing is, like, I feel like they would need to have like MSI and Asus also pull out, which I don't have an RTX card yet, so I don't want that to happen yet.
Right.
So, it's I don't know. It's a fascinating look where you rarely ever have any companies make emotional decisions, and 100%. This is what that was, and it's it's fascinating to watch.
That's interesting. Anyway, but yeah, in case anybody who's into that, apparently we have a couple people in here. Aditya's got to go because he's being a bitch, so he's gonna leave. He needs food and sleep. Whatever, fine. You don't eat. It's cool.
Poor guy.
Actually, I'm glad to see Aditya. I haven't seen him in a couple of episodes.
So he's been back home to see family.
So yeah, exactly. And then Kunal's actually got some other points here. So at least there's somebody here that's actually listening live who I'm sure Barry and other people.
See, Kunal writes articles for Purposely Pixel website. Okay. I'm sure that's the Kunal that does it. I'm sure it is. Can you confirm that, Kunal?
And so Aditya's taken off because he's got to like sleep and eat, whatever. Anyway,
necessary things to survive,
He probably said he's gonna have to use the restroom probably eventually too. Like whatever, dude. So, and I guess Apple 14 is there, iPhone 14 is there, and
just before we get into that, can I just mention that the captain on his holodeck is awesome? Right. Did you notice that, sir? The holodeck just looks brilliant. I love it.
This is one of the few ones where the lighting like matches the whole room space.
Right.
So...
Do you know what's funny though? When he picked up his cup, because that's black, the lines went onto the cup.
Yeah.
It's not doing it now. It's doing it a bit, yeah.
Yeah, my green screen back here kind of interferes a little bit. I almost wore a green shirt. It's like that would have been a horrible mistake.
Right. It just been a
floating I'd love
head.
to have a holodeck. How cool would that be?
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, it would be cool, but it'd be frightening because then I wouldn't.
Yeah. Just wouldn't go anywhere. Just stay home.
I just stay in the holodeck all day. Like, I can bottom of the ninth, I can hit home runs all day. I'm not going to work.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I mean, there's mixed reviews. I mean, eSIM's been mixed. I mean, people said it's been sweet. Other people say it's been a train wreck. Dynamic Island. By the way, I have to keep mentioning because it's awesome what Trenton did with Dynamic Island and Viper. The little cut-ins. He's doing like Gullah Gullah Island, and he cuts at Dynamic Island. It's hilarious. It's some of the funniest shit. I love Trent. He's a good dude, and he did. So yeah, I don't know if I feel. I don't know if I really. Are we ready for eSIM? Are we ready for this?
No.
It seems like we're not.
That's the answer. No.
Yeah, I think the first couple of weeks, as we're kind of getting through this next week or so of a launch, I'm kind of feeling we're close, but that's going to be a pain point, especially for the fact they don't offer any kind of SIM variant. Like, apparently there is no SIM tray in an iPhone 14.
No, there isn't.
So you don't have an option. Like, you got to be, if you go to the 14, you got to be all eSIM or nothing. And there's been some people who are having some issues with it. I mean, it's been a pain point.
This is an example of Apple saying, we don't like this about this particular aspect of the market as a whole. We have enough clout. We're just gonna force the market to change. And that's what this is.
That's so Apple.
Yeah. It's just, they love the smell of their own farts so much that they're just like, we're just going to force the whole market to comply to us. I don't particularly have anything.
They like a Dutch oven,
but yeah.
Apple and Dutch ovens.
Well, I mean, they did things with the headphone jack. They did things with like storage. They did things with now the eSIM. And I get it. I think eventually that could be something that can be leveraged pretty nice. I mean, I know my Duo 2 has got an eSIM capability, so I know that that's a thing. But maybe we're not 100% there yet, and it clearly seems to be we're not.
Well,
eSIMs are a nightmare. Honestly, I get so many issues with them.
Well, here's the thing too. Like, they might say, you might have issues in places where you need standard SIM support or even dual SIM, but Apple those aren't their primary markets either. Like, Apple is more concerned about getting to be in the richest markets. It's almost like Disney's approach to their theme parks, where they're catering to the richest of the rich sort of thing. And I feel like Apple is starting to do some of that with how, like, what markets they're choosing to be in, essentially.
Right. Well, and look so their argument would be we're trying to push the technology forward. The only way to push that forward is to put it in here and make people get on board, right? Because if you if you give them both options, they'll just choose the easier option, right? The one, and then it's not impactful enough to drive that eSIM forward. That's what Tesla's done, folks.
It's funny though.
I'm telling you, 10 years ago, none of that shit was going to happen. Nobody is going to. You have companies that are going all electric now. You have a state in California that's talking about not allowing new vehicle sales of combustion engines by 2030.
It's funny, Sam. Though, everyone thought the port was going, and it ended up being the SIM tray instead.
Right. Well, and the reason why is because the port has a lot more impact and a lot more use than a SIM tray. So if we can get the SIM tray to work, I'm telling you, if they can get the SIM and get that to work and everybody's jumping on board and they line it out in the next year or two, I'll tell you, in the next couple of years, you're going to see a portless iPhone. That will be a thing.
How do you think the market's going to react to a portless iPhone? Because I think now iOS is at a point, it's been for a while, where like you don't really have to deal with iTunes. But still, though, like there are certain, I don't know, like I would absolutely hate every bit of if they did that, because it means Android would start doing it. The Android space would start.
Yeah, that's my fear.
That is my worst nightmare.
Well, I will. I
don't want to buy Sony phones because like at the moment, just because they're so expensive, but they're the ones that keep all these features.
My prediction will be if
Sony phone.
If Apple does go, if Apple does go portless, they will still sell millions because people don't care. And
I'm still loving this phone, by the way.
But I think, but here's the thing: people will push back on the portless
Definitely.
Android won't go that far. That's where they'll stop. That's where they will not follow that. They'll go, okay,
I hope so.
That's a bridge. Well, that'll be a bridge too far, right? That'll be it. Especially because that's what I'm saying. So Apple right now will sell them. They'll go eSIM. They'll go portless, and people will still sell millions, and people will justify it because Apple people will just
justify everything.
Right, and so do Android people. I mean, they don't resonate.
Yeah, everyone does.
People,
whatever brand they like.
It just drives me nuts. I'm like, just be open to the opportunity. The fact that iPhones are good, Samsung phones are good, Apple, Macs are good, PCs are good. It's all good. Like all this shit is good. I mean, I don't know of anybody who's buying something is like, this is total garbage, right? Maybe 5-7 years ago, phones were trash, but now any phone you buy, even at the low end, even at the mid range, you're doing really well. So I think if Apple goes portless, they will still sell lots of them. They'll justify it. People will justify the purchase. I think Android will finally pump the brakes and go, okay, look, that's not, especially if there's a lot of consumer groundswell of like, this is not working for us, or there's a lot more of an issue. Because obviously Android is different, but Apple will leverage accessories to soften the blow of a portless phone, MagSafe, and also with other technology. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know when it's going to happen, but
I have a feeling that we might, if they do introduce a portless iPhone, we might see some at some point, whether or not it actually will matter at this point, whenever it comes along, but legislation in the EU, because they're the only ones who are going to ever do it, but I think it would be regarding just the fact that wireless charging is so much harder on batteries with the heat. It just
that's the thing, isn't it?
Faster.
Yeah, and also
it's going to backfire.
Well, also too is in order for that to happen too is consumers need to get a whole lot more educated about their devices, but also be willing to actually say something and not just take whatever they're given. That's going to be the two things that Apple will change their paradigm. If people push back and really start to go, if Apple sales suffer on the portless iPhone because consumers just aren't willing to go that far, that's when Apple will make the change. They will course correct when it affects sales. Until then, it's just all talk.
Well, and it's just there. For years, we've thought there would be a straw that broke the camel's back sort of thing, but it doesn't really seem like there's many straws that
not
iOS customers care about here.
No, not in the U.S. As a matter of fact, because now iOS is now the predominant operating system on mobile phones now in the United States. So I think Apple, if they're going to make the move, they're going to leverage it now when strike while the fire is hot. And I think they're going to go for it. I think eSIM's the first step, and then a portless iPhone. Now what they may do is they may offer a portless version of an iPhone, like an iPhone Pro portless,
like the 10,
right? Just to see if they can get sales out of it. They said okay, and they can kind of start to roll that off. So again, I'm just out here running my mouth. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm not a pundit or an industry expert.
Apple can do it, can't they? They get away with everything.
Yeah,
they can have a 60 hertz screen at $800-900, but Pixel 6a can't.
Well, the Pixel 6a,
you know where I'm going.
But nobody's buying this Pixel 6a. In the Android world, even the Android people aren't buying. They're buying Samsung devices. Yeah, seriously. Let's look at the sales.
It's true. It is true. Yeah, we sell loads.
And it's a shame too because it has nothing to do with the fact that it's not a good device. It's just the fact that nobody.
Oh, it's a fantastic device.
Right. Yeah, the 6A is awesome, and I would leverage the hell out of one. If I didn't have a 6, I would get a 6A, and I did. I had a 4A at one point.
For the price, it's so good.
But it's just one of those things where it's like it's two different things you're describing. Like those things can't be equal. They just aren't equal anymore. I mean, Apple does their thing.
They should be though.
Really, should they?
Like, how can they charge for the specs? Is the camera that good? In your opinion?
No, it's not. But again, most consumers aren't thinking about that necessarily. Again, that's what Apple's hoping
idiots.
For.
Gosh.
Yeah. Well, so we've kind of gotten past the point of like the megapixel wars and everything.
Yeah.
So it's so we're
now it's computational photography, right?
Yeah.
Although Apple has joined that now with their 48 megapixel.
But it's less of, when you're pulling up a spec sheet, you're not necessarily pulling up image processing, sort of stuff. You're pulling up just the hardware usually. And I feel like we're at least 5 years past that being a huge thing, with the exception of stuff just like internal storage, but like we don't have a whole lot of PR things going. We've got X amount of X gigs of RAM anymore,
Right. And overclocking is kind of not a thing anymore. People now just have high spec RAM, and now it's like overclocking is still a thing, but it's not near as where you have to. Like, I get the thing, I'm gonna have overclock. I have to have 1 million gigs of RAM, right? No, you don't. Really, you don't have to have the RAM.
You really don't, though.
Right. So, but yeah, I agree with Andrew's point. I think that's a good point. So, I think there can be differentiation even inside the mobile market. You have Apple users that have a different idea because they are different devices, right? They're lifestyle devices that attack a different niche. They're simple to use. They're easy to use. They have, yeah. So I think
I need to be more direct with what I'm saying. It's the YouTubers who don't.
Nobody gives a shit about any of that.
Has parity.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we care because we're obviously on YouTube.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I like YouTube and I watch a lot of it, so I care.
I do too, and I care as well. But the general consumer,
as sad as I am,
and they will not. You're not going to leverage that. I don't care if Marquez has 25 million followers. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. I'm just telling you, the general consumer isn't going to really care that much. They are going to buy the phone that works for them, and they don't give a shit. And if you don't believe,
I know.
This is the pinnacle.
I can present an Oppo, right? I can present an Oppo with fantastic specs for the same price as an iPhone. Or if not cheap, if not miles cheaper. Actually, the same, cheaper than the Samsung, but better, like side by side, it's got way better specs. Oh no, I'll just stick with Samsung. I know what I'm doing with Samsung.
Would you agree that at this point right now, this conversation, that peak YouTube tech YouTuber thing is a thing, right? That's an established thing, right? Everybody knows what it is. Go find 100 people and ask them who Marquez Brownlee is. Nobody will fucking tell you. You might find 2 people that say they know who he is.
It's true. Yeah, it's true.
And he's the most famous one of all of us, like all of us YouTube folks. And he's interviewed President Obama, and he's been on the Joe Rogan Experience, and still most people, general people, you walk into the grocery store, have no clue who he is. And that's just okay, but I think it's okay. And oh, hey, guess what? Holy shit. Juan's here. I guess you got it early. Hey, Juan. Hey, congratulations. Thank you for coming, sir. I haven't seen you in a while. I've missed your face and your captions. And we miss everybody's face every week. But and he said they aren't going to buy the phone that works for them. They'll just yeah, exactly.
So
this is a shame because this statement is totally 100% correct, and it's absolutely awful at the same time. And that's shitty.
One thing
it's real shit. That
I just don't like that, man.
One thing I think that Samsung has done that has been smart for them, that kind of leads to a lot of people wanting to get the same Samsungs as well. Like they had a Samsung before and they'll continue. There are a lot of like little features. Like for example, if I had the Galaxy Buds, and I was able, with the other person was able to get that, both of us listening to music at the same time sort of feature running, that's exclusive to a Samsung phone. And if that's something that turns out I really used, I'm more likely to stick with that. So Samsung has a lot of those little features throughout their OS, throughout Android, that they've implemented that kind of add up to a lot, I feel like, in terms of lock-in. Kind of like how as close as they can get to iOS lock-in,
Right. And so I think I agree with Joe's point. I don't think it should be different. But as you start to see, as we kind of get down the path, you start to see that separation start to now occur. That tribalism is starting to kind of creep in even to the mobile states. And it's a shame. But anyway, and Jimmy's got did you see this, Joe?
No, I didn't see that.
8 p.m. tonight, so in 5 minutes, people in the UK are going to observe a moment of silence. So if we are on...
I mean, that's not going to be good for podcasting.
Well...
I'll just be silent for a minute.
Right. I didn't know that was a thing. So, but... and that goes to my point about Tesla. Tesla is the Apple of manufacturing of vehicles, right? I mean, it's now Apple isn't just a phone. Apple is, you can flex. Like, I have the latest, greatest iPhone, right? So I can show the people, and I have the blingy case, right? I don't disagree with Tesla being the market standard. I'm glad that they're pushing alternative sources of vehicles forward. But again, like I made a comment on Gigi's stream last night, I'm more of the Toyota Mirai. I think hydrogen-powered vehicles can serve a purpose, right? They're in California, right? I think let's have a discussion about, and also I'm just worried about repairability and serviceability, right? I mean, look at the situation right now. Let's say you got a Tesla, you bought a Model 3, and it blows up, what name the part? Let's say the part's like $6,000. Or let's say, hey, yeah, your part, it's on back order. It's going to be here in 3 weeks.
Definitely don't buy a second-hand Tesla. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no.
Right. Well, and the problem is we haven't figured out what that market's going to look like, right? And the problem also too is not everybody can fix them. You get a car right now, you can take it to a shop, you can take it to a mechanic, and they can fix it. If you've got a 2020 Tesla, a used one, you bought a secondhand market, and you drive it to your local guy that does the old ASC certified technician, right? He's going to go, I can't fix that. What are you going to do when that part goes out of warranty?
Let's go back to your workers, like tradesmen. Going back to that, we need more tradesmen.
Well, now, basically, if you have a Tesla technician, they're basically computer programmers.
Yeah,
that's what they are. It's all software. That's all it is. It's really all and all that stuff is. They'll tell you, oh well, we'll fix your battery problem. We'll just flash some new firmware on your car. Plus, also they can lock you out of your car. That shit's no fucking way, man.
Yeah.
Sorry. If I'm spending $100,000 in my car, I'm gonna drive it any goddamn way I want, and I'm not gonna have the overlord tell me, well, we're gonna take this feature away, or I can't have heated seats. It's gonna cost you an extra $1,000 a month to have heated seats? Go fuck yourself.
Oh no, the worst part about all of this is the move towards subscription models for features. Whoa,
your game got hardcore. I love it.
Yeah, I like it. It's cool.
Your gain is harsh. It's awesome. You're like, so Barry, if you worried about him being quiet,
Andrew's arrived.
Andrew's at 51 minutes. He came to play. Just saying.
Yeah.
Your gain got awesome. That's okay. But yeah, that's what my concern is. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be a space for that, and I'm glad companies are really, really getting into the electrical car space, EV space. I'm worried about the next 5 years when your Tesla's out of warranty and a part fails. And that's the problem. I wanted I have a Prius, right? The main battery, if it goes bad, it takes like $2,000 to fix it, but they got to drop the whole damn back end to get the battery in. It's like $5,000 repair on a car that's got 240,000 miles. It's a Toyota, so you know what I mean? It's like those are real world things. What happens when you're out of warranty and your model 3 needs an $8,000 repair?
It always happens outside of warranty, Sam. That's how it works.
Well, unless you got a lifetime or like an extended. Yeah. But yeah, Andrew's right. The subscription model, they're gonna find a way to nickel and dime you to death. They're gonna turn into, oh, we don't have to give them free TV. We can, if you want Paramount Plus, we'll give you this. And it's $10 here and $10 here. And this is gonna nickel and dime you to death.
The other thing too is, hopefully my gain is not like absolutely crazy now. But
good.
but
you're not talking in capitals now.
Oh, okay, yeah. But unfortunately, one thing too about it is like we're gonna see a lot of like those smaller communities that have like those, like all their auto shops, like they're gonna have to somehow have their cars towed, like sometimes maybe like an hour away to someplace that may be certified to work on some of these electric vehicles. Because that's part of the problem too with all this is it's like with phones where they're trying to strictly control who can work on these vehicles. And what happens is in a lot of these smaller communities that are further away from these hub areas, like they're gonna have to spend hundreds upon hundreds of dollars just like getting a car towed to a place with somebody who can go work on it. And so that's another big thing that I think needs to be focused on with the advent of all these electric vehicles, and is making sure that support is everywhere, which I don't think there is in the
nowhere near
where I'm at.
Nowhere near yet,
and definitely not. And like I said, you're in the situation where look at your internet service.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to go whip the mule outside to make sure that the internet would go. So. All
right. Well, as Jimmy has said, it is now 8 p.m. So apparently, in honor of the Queen, I'm not British, and neither is Andrew. But we will go offline for about 35 to 45 seconds. We'll just stand by and observe the moment's house for Her Majesty. So that's going to look a little weird on the actual recording. But if we post it tomorrow, I know the funeral for Her Majesty is tomorrow. So I think tomorrow in the UK, I think it's a complete, fairly almost like a bank holiday, right? It's a total day of shutdown.
Thanks for bringing that to our attention, Jimmy. Much appreciated, mate.
Yeah, I did not hear that, but I've been trying to pay attention to it. I will tell you that it's been pretty awesome with all the coverage and like these documentaries and things talking about like it's been pretty interesting to see all the stuff around the Queen because it's in the United States we don't really unless you're a royal watcher, a lot of people are. But I didn't know a lot of stuff about the Queen and just like how the process works and now with Charles and a lot of us haven't seen an actual transition of a monarch in our lifetime, right? So we're all kind of new to this. Like most Britons have never seen any other monarch other than Queen Elizabeth. So it's like kind of interesting to see, like, for the first time in 70 years, most people, kind of like the Cubs winning a World Series, right? There were people who weren't alive when the last monarch was in power, right? They've always
see what I learned is a credible sense of humor. Yeah, you don't see that normally. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So and I understand that there's contention around this because the UK and the British Empire is seen as been colonizers, and that's a discussion that's not going to be inside of this channel. Again,
it's not for the Nomad Tech Project.
Right. We did it because that's kind of something we like to do. If you want to talk about it and you don't want to watch our show because you feel that we were being disrespectful and giving credence to the awful British Empire, well, that's your right. That's okay. And
you got a British guy on the podcast.
Right. He isn't really even a royal. Who's just kind of a subject.
I am royal.
No, I'm saying. Oh yeah.
Don't worry. It's a good thing I couldn't find that one random car commercial that had like George Washington driving with the American flags and all that.
Oh, it's a Dodge commercial.
It's a Dodge commercial. Okay, that commercial is the dumbest commercial ever.
It's like sliding sideways. It's like America. Yeah, it's like
and they take all the historical stuff outside of the cars, which is taken so seriously in that commercial. And
So I think isn't tomorrow. So are they going to do it tomorrow for the funeral? That is tomorrow like the essential bank holiday for the UK tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm on it. I've got a day off for it.
I think everybody is off except for like probably emergency services like fire EMS, fire brigade.
A few supermarkets, a few coffee shops will be open, but yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So and that is that going to be a day going forward, like an official bank holiday?
I don't think so. No, just this year.
Okay.
Just this year, yeah.
So it's Anyway,
Sam, just quickly.
Yeah.
Have you received your skins yet?
I have not, but they're coming from the UK, and if they don't get them out, they won't be getting them out tomorrow probably because the mail's probably.
No, they got them out that day.
Okay, cool.
They said they was going to anyway.
Yeah, they did. So, but yeah, the folks over at Stream Skins decided to send me over a couple. I think green camo. I think that's what I asked for.
That's what you asked for, yeah.
Yeah, I love that look. So I got some skins coming from them, and well, even though me and Joe are kind of helping them out and trying to push some traffic to them, you should buy it. Stream Skins, like they're cheap, they're good, they're awesome. It's like why buy the other brands when you could get Extreme Skins? Go to their website, extremeskins.co.uk. Lots of colors, tons of devices. I mean, hell, you got they got stuff for your device, Xperia devices, Andrews.
For me though, it's the textures. When you feel the skins, they're awesome.
But also, they're also protecting your device. So if I'm actually looking forward to using, since the Flip 4 screen probably won't crack because it's plastic, I'm just going to throw a green camo skin on it and just like take the case off and just rock it that way, right? Same with my Duo. So check them out. They are good prices, great customer service, lots of good guys and gals over there at them. Check them out, extremeskins.co.uk. Friends of the show, we love them to death. Tell them we sent you, and you could probably get some kind of deal. They always got great.
There's discount on purposely gaming. Matt's Twitter.
Matt's
Head
Twitter.
To his Twitter.
Link in there. And he actually I think he just started his Twitch channel. So as soon as you get done with this, you can head on over to Matt's Twitch stream. I think he's playing something.
Roblox.
Or
Let's hope so. He'd be a rubbish gamer if he ain't.
Right. So and then also speaking of that, we have to throw some love to our channel sponsor, right? PurposelyPixel.com, I guess. I don't know. Probably not a .com. Do we have a website? I never know if we had a website.
We do, yeah. So that's what I was saying earlier. No, Canal, who's in the chat, he actually writes articles for our website.
Cool. So check us out on YouTube, and then check out the PurposelyPixel.com website, and check us out. You can throw us a sub, watch some videos, a lot of good stuff. Kunal does a great job. Lenny does a great job running the show, and Neil and all the folks over there, they do an awesome job. should check them out. And it's not just Pixel, so don't think it's because it's called purposely Pixel. That's all they talk about. And check them out. They've been a great fan of the show. They've also been awesome for us, and we really appreciate them letting us put this silliness on their YouTube channel. So,
silliness.
Yeah, sometimes it's
a good description, to be fair.
That's actually, we try to have a good time. So, Andrew, what else you got going on? Like, what device? I forgot. Are you just using? Wait, weren't you using a Note 20? Right now, I thought you were using a Note 20, right? At one point?
Right now
Samsung
I'm still using. Yeah, I'm still using my Note 20 Ultra right now. Though, like, I thought about the Fold 4, but I'm like, I'm still gonna wait.
Okay.
There were some good trade-in deals, but I don't know. I'm still kind of going back and forth. But right now, it's been rocking pretty well for me, and it's the last Samsung flagship with an SD card slot, and so I'm like, I'm gonna hold on to that for a little while.
Definitely, man.
Yeah, but basically, I've just been kind of sticking with that. Still, like, that's the other thing too. Having that periscope telephoto zoom is something I really don't want to give up now.
Yeah.
Now that
once you have it, it's
Oh, it's nice.
And it's improved, hasn't it, over time with the software updates? It's got even better, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's gotten really
That's
good.
something Samsung are good at, to be fair.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I realize I agree with now. I've got the Flip 4, and honestly, I still use the Duo, but I've tried to get this. I try to get the Flippy Dippy. I didn't want to take the SIM out and go back and forth. I really want to give it a good, proper 2 weeks of use, and I really like it. I can honestly say that I really enjoy just kind of, it's kind of, I don't know. It's nice. I really like it. I think the quality's good. The screen's great. Speakers are good. Camera's okay. But again, I was coming from a Duo too. So for me, that's not a deal breaker for me. It takes okay pictures, and battery life is getting better. It's still not great.
Did you see Scary but Literal's picture that of his dog?
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was from a Duo.
Yeah, it can, if you get good lighting and you can know how to compose a shot, you can actually get decent shots out of a Duo. It's not. I just thought
I had to retweet that and say, look.
Yeah, but it's okay. So I really like it. So Andrew, I know you'll miss the telephoto on this, but it's a fantastic phone. I've really enjoyed my Flip 4 so far. It's been pretty solid. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, it's like so Samsung is going to be doing, was it like 4 or 5 full Android updates for their newest set of flagships?
Yeah,
which is like it's pretty huge because mine's like 3. I'm only going to get Android 13 on my Note 20 Ultra, and so that's pretty appealing. But boy, I tell you, I really do like, even though it's not coming to the US, but the Razer Gen 3.
Oh yeah,
I love the look of that.
That front display is just so much better.
Yeah, it's nice
every way.
Right.
But it's also going to get like 6 weeks of updates, and then
right.
Just like, good luck, So.
Yeah. I would like to, and also, to be fair, I'd like to use the Oppo Find N and the Huawei Mate X, and then like the Vivo Fold and the Xiaomi. I would love to use those, but again, I'm on AT&T, so the whitelist is an issue. And then on top of it, just getting those, you have to pay full price. And then also, what happens if you have a repair, right? You can't take it to a repair shop, and it's like, so if you have a display issue or it folds or it gets a little weird or you need a repair problem, you're kind of just asked out. I mean, you pretty much just got to buy another one, right? So it'd be nice if I could get one easily and there was at least a chance to have it repaired. So that's really the only barrier to that.
I'd like to have play with the Zenfone 9.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'd like to. It's like a nice device.
Yeah, so that's a shame. All those really, and I was actually hoping that OnePlus would make a foldable, because chances are if they did, that would actually get an American or a proper.
Yeah, probably.
But right now it's just going to be kind of hit or miss. So I know.
Would there be a Pixel Fold?
A Pixel Fold would be good, and I'm even telling you right now, honestly, I would even try to use an iOS folding device at some point just to kind of see what their implementation experience would be. I would probably give that a chance. Maybe not first gen, but I would not say no to a possible Apple Fold Flip phone.
It's
depending
weird
on how they do
because
it. I might do it.
iOS is just not designed. I don't like, because I feel like iOS is still has both feet, except not including the iPad OS, but just like iOS firmly has its feet in the design ethos of the iPhone 5 still.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't think that, I think they have some they're very far behind on any other sort of form factor used for iOS
Yeah.
in terms of just like,
Yeah.
they are like at least 5 years behind. I feel like in terms of that side of their software, like being able to compete with foldable, changing aspect ratios and everything.
Yeah, I miss Lumia as well, and boy, I really wish that they were still Windows Phone was in play. But that's okay, it's not. So it's all good. And Barry's like, right, it's like OnePlus or Pixel Fold in the future, absolutely. And then Jimmy makes the comment, you mean an Oppo Fold? Yeah, he means an Oppo Fold. It's called the OnePlus because that's how it goes, right? It's all good. So no shame in the game. So, well, we are at 1 hour 5 minutes. So I think we have.
That's gone way too quick. Way too quick.
That's what happens when you have somebody like Andrew on the show, who's fantastic and a great guest, and it's always great, man. Like I said, we want to make sure that Andrew is a recurring guest on the show. Actually, any guest is really a recurring guest.
So I had a little story I wanted to tell about Arsenal today.
They lose
Carry
again?
on the theme from last week, my football hooligan. They during stoppage time they put on a 15-year-old. He's the youngest player to ever play in the Premiership, so it's quite big. But what was funny, it was what the fans sung. They started singing, 15, he's only 15. How shit must you be? He's only 15.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
That's well, never miss a beat for English football fans, especially Arsenal fans that kind of give shit to their own team. It's like, oh, you got a 15-year-old? You guys must really suck ass because you got a 15. Why don't you go to the kindergarten and grab some of the kids off the kindergarten or like the primary school? So, and again, Andrew, thanks for coming on. And yes, this time around, your internet is solid. It lasted the entire show. You didn't just hang up on us. That's always a plus. And
he looks awesome in his holodeck.
Yeah, he's got the holodeck and he's awesome. So
I'm actually sad that this went way too fast.
I know. Well, don't worry. We'll have Andrew on again, and we're not gonna. And this time we will not have such a gap in shows. We will have him on probably sometime soon. We got the end of October looks good. Beginning of November looks good. We want to make him more of a regular component to the show because having you on has always been a blast, and we really appreciate you taking time on a Sunday to share with us.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Like this is just it's a privilege and a pleasure, and I can't wait to join you guys.
Privilege is ours having you on, mate.
Absolutely. Well, so, Joe, anything else we're going to cover before we sign off for the day?
No, I think that's it. Although I'm just sad we're going. I just want to carry on for another hour.
Well, we'll be back next week, so
absolutely,
it's going to be a whole week between shows, but it's okay. You can listen to our show we're going to post, or you can go back and listen to our catalog of shows and really just fill your ear holes.
We have a playlist on the Purposely Pixel YouTube channel.
Yep, and also Juan's going to be live tomorrow as always for his SGGQA. You be there, and if you aren't there, then you should just be there anyway, and you need to suck it up and just show up. That's what you need to do. Throw Juan some love. Subscribe to his channel. He's fantastic. He was really the catalyst for all this kind of stuff that made me think that maybe one day we can actually have our own show. Not anywhere near as professional, nor as learned, or as intelligent, or as knowledgeable, and not even really that great looking, but we do our own thing. So it's okay. Juan's fantastic. And again, everybody else in chat, Barry and Kunal and Jimmy and Barry and everybody who showed up, thanks for coming to our show.
We always appreciate everyone.
We love you guys as always. We will be back next week. And I think we have maybe Delavan Digital.
Yeah, hopefully. I need to chase him up. He said hopefully it'll work for him.
So we'll let you know that's tentative. But if not, we'll find out something. In worst case, me and Joe will still be here on the 25th and bringing you lots of great content and great discussions as always. So for myself, for Joe Hickey, for Andrew Fat Produce, that's our show for this Sunday. Come back to us next Sunday. We will have great conversations. We love you guys. Enjoy your tech. Have a good week.
God bless the Queen.
God bless the Queen, and God save the King. And have a great week with your tech, and we'll be catching you back next Sunday. Same time, same bat channel. Love you guys.
Goodbye.
See you on the flip side.